Hi, my name is Adam Heichel.
Hi, Kathy.
How are you?
Okay.
What brings you in today?
Just kind of depressed.
Kind of depressed. What are you depressed about?
My mother.
What about your mother?
Well, she's 90, and she's old, and she's can't hear, and she shakes, and she can't do much for herself, and I don't have any help, and I have to be there every day, and it's just wearing me down. It's wearing me down. I don't know what to do.
Have you tried to seek any help?
Well, she's in an assisted living thing, but I mean, they'll just be there in case she falls. I mean, like, she can't feed herself because she has a tremor, so I have to either be there to feed her, or there's food all over and she doesn't end up eating, or I have to hire someone to feed her, like have someone come in, a nurse or something come in, and a girl that works there comes in 3 days a week, but it still is me, you know. I have to do everything. I mean, and then she's psychologically dependent on me.
Okay. So let's go on to something. Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have a brother, but he's not much help. I mean, he lives in Columbus, but he's not much help. He's an hour away, but he comes every couple of months, but for an hour or two, but doesn't do me much good, does it?
No.
And she doesn't have the money, really. She has enough money to live in the assisted living thing, but she doesn't have money that I could hire someone to be with her and do everything I do.
Have you confronted your brother about it? Or about helping you out more?
Well, I asked him, because she was hallucinating, so I asked him if he could come like just every other weekend and spend the night, one night a week, one night every other weekend, and he was doing it for a couple months and then just didn't do it anymore.
And have you confronted him about why he hasn't,
He just says
or why he stopped doing that?
Well, she got a little better with the hallucinations, and so he just quit doing it. He said he's stressed and he's got his own business to run, and I haven't really confronted him because he's my only sibling, and I don't want to alienate him or, you know, get him. I don't know. I just don't do those kind of things. I don't confront very easily, so.
So that's one of the reasons that you came in today. Is there anything else?
Well, I'm depressed, and I'm sad, and I feel guilty because she's old, and part of me thinks she'd be better off if she weren't here. She's on like 20-some medications a day, and she has no quality of life, and I'm the only one that, she has no friends. She doesn't leave the room in her assisted living place, so if I don't go, she doesn't see anybody except people in and out for help. She doesn't watch TV. She just sits there. So it's a big burden. And then, you know, I feel guilty. And then, you know, then I feel sad because I know she's going to die. And she needs me. And so I have all these conflicting emotions. I don't know.
Let's go back to why you don't like confronting people. Have you always been that way? Have you always not been, you don't like confrontation?
It just depends on who it's with. If it's with someone I don't care about, it's just hard for me to confront my brother because he always has an excuse. And I mean, he'll end up doing it. Let me put it this way. He'll end up doing it for a month or so, and then he goes back to the way it was. And then I have to get upset again and confront him. And then it goes back, and then he does something. And then, you know, he'll come like for a couple weeks, or he'll pay her attention, and then it goes back to the way it was. And you know, so it's like I get really angry, and you know, I hate to keep like every couple months getting so mad that, you know, I have to just, you know, yell and say, it's your mother too, and why don't you help, and can't you do any more? And so, you know, I just accept what it is, and I don't know what else to do.
So, okay, so going back on you not confronting, do you think that it would be a good idea to confront him because maybe he doesn't know how you're feeling? Like how stressful it is for you to be taken care of of your
Well, he
mother all by
kinda-
yourself?
He knows because he always says, "Oh, I give you a lot of credit. Boy, you really stepped up. I don't know what we'd do without you." And he'll do anything I ask him to do. Like if I say, "You've got to come because, I'm going away, you've got to come," he'll come. But the last time he came, it was at 10 o'clock at night. And she took her sleeping pill at 9. So he stayed for a half hour and wondered why she fell back asleep. And then he left. It was a Friday night. So he didn't even really see her, but he made the effort. He drove an hour to see her, stayed for a half hour and left. And so, I kind of had to say, you can't do that. She takes her sleeping pill at 9. But, it's to the point where, I feel like I can't leave her to go on long vacations, like for a week or anything. And cause
So it's
she
just
gets
stressing you
stressed.
out. It's just inconvenient for you.
But she's my mother.
But yeah.
And I'm sure I was inconvenient for her.
Yeah. Have you guys been close to your mom? When you were a child or anything?
When I was a child, I was very close to her, but then she could be pretty, she could be kind of nasty with me as I was growing up, later, teenage and adulthood. So, I guess my feelings could be stronger. I feel she's a responsibility and something I have to take good care of and do well. It's not something I necessarily, it's pretty complex.
Yeah.
Something I don't necessarily do out of total love, but then I do it out of love.
Mm-hmm.
It's very confusing to me.
So we're on the subject of your mother. And you said that she was kind of hard on you when you were a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Was she hard on your brother too, or was it always just you that got?
It was me.
That.
He's 5 years older, and he always was her favorite, and she would admit that.
And okay. Why do you think she was his favorite?
Because she liked boys best. She told me when my 2 boys were born that she was glad they were boys because she always liked boys better than girls.
She didn't give you a reason why that was.
I think it came from her childhood, but I don't know. So, but look who's ended up taking care of her now.
Yeah.
Not her son.
Mm-hmm. Were your parents married?
Yes.
How was your childhood? Was it a good childhood, or?
Yeah, it was a good childhood. I mean, they both loved me. I knew they loved me. My dad, I knew they loved me, but my mom just had mental health issues. And so she took a lot out on me as I became a teenager, and, up until, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, when she, got older and started reflecting on her life, I think she took a lot out of me. She said a lot of mean things to me sometimes. She criticized me a lot. She criticized what I was wearing. She criticized, how I raised my kids. She would criticize a lot of things.
And that really hurt you.
Oh.
But you didn't want to show the emotion, or you didn't want to show your feelings because that made you look a little weak. Would you say that?
No, not weak. I just felt this really horrible obligation. It's a psychological obligation.
Something to live up to.
I put it on myself. It's the way I am. I just have it. She is my mother, and I do love her, and I've got to take care of her. And she has no one else. So part of me feels sorry for her, and part of me is angry with her, and part of me thinks she's a child, because she was depressed when I was growing up a lot, and she was in bed a lot. So actually I was the caregiver a lot from the time I was 5. So I took care of her, and I worried about her, and I worried that she was going to kill herself, and she made it through all that and got better, and now she's old. My father's been dead for 15 years, and I'm taking care of her, and it's kind of hard to take care of her when you have all kinds of negative emotions in the back of your head, but they're not the way things are now, because now she's helpless, because she's old, and she needs me, and she does love me.
Okay. And so your parents were married, and you said your mom is currently 90. When did your dad pass away?
He's been dead 15 years, 1998. So it was 15 years.
And was that hard for you when he passed away? Can you go into more in depth of why?
Because he was my partner in crime. He was patient. He accepted me for who I was. He never yelled when my mom would yell and everything at him or us. He would never yell back. He'd just go down the basement and work in his workroom, and we'd go down there and I'd watch him work, and we'd be together, and he would just accept me for who I was. And so it was very hard because I took care of him too.
Yeah. So if you, this is gonna be a weird question, but if you had to say, do you think you're closest to your father than to your mother?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that stems from her just being mentally ill and not being on medication because she was.
She was on medication.
Oh, she was.
Those were the days that, before antidepressants, though,
Mm-hmm.
when all they had was shock therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't have shock therapy, but it was really hard to treat her with anything
Mm-hmm.
because there was, it was talk therapy. So, she pretty much was debilitated with depression. Yeah. I mean, I can't blame her. She can't help it. Mm-hmm. I mean, she was a product of her environment. Yeah. So at least she raised me, and I don't feel like I'm wacko. I feel like I turned out pretty okay, but it's just, probably that was because of my dad. He was, the warm, fuzzy place for me to fall. My mother was pretty critical.
Yeah.
Most of my life. Most of my life from teenagehood. So, and she didn't like the fact that my dad and I were so close.
Oh, really? Why do you think that was? Because maybe she was jealous of your relationship?
Sure, absolutely.
And because she wanted that with one of her kids, maybe? She wanted that bond? But
she drove us away.
Okay.
So I think she would have wanted that kind of attention from my dad in terms of, just doing things with her and mm-hmm. spending time with her. And, mm-hmm. But she didn't know how, she couldn't put two and two together and see how she drove him away. He didn't want to have anything to do with her because she was, but he stuck in there.
Yeah.
They were married 48 years when he died.
Wow. It's a long time.
Yeah.
So going back to your older brother, right? Is that correct? What's your relationship with him? You did say it's becoming more stressful, and you're angry at him.
Well, on the surface, he thinks it's fine. Mm-hmm. He's fine with it. He thinks, that it's okay. He's ADD, okay. So, and so is my mom, ADD. I found that out because I have an ADHD son, mm-hmm. So you kind of see the pattern mm-hmm. and things. And so he's ADD, and I know he tries hard to do what he's doing. It's hard for him to run a business. He's trying to get through his days. He's 62 years old. He's trying to get through, mm-hmm. And he just, I don't know. No, what was your question?
My question was, you were saying that you and your brother's relationship is kind of getting strained because of your mom.
He doesn't think it is. I just don't.
But on the surface, that's what you said. On the surface, he thinks it's all right, but in reality, it's really not. And he owns his own job, or he owns his own business.
In reality, it is okay. Our relationship's good. In reality, but I have to suppress a lot mm-hmm. and forget a lot and overlook mm-hmm. a lot mm-hmm. and just take deep breaths. And my husband just says that he's my only sibling mm-hmm. and he's a good guy, mm-hmm. and so just don't, because there was 10 or 12 years where I didn't even see him because mm-hmm. he married a woman who was kind of wacko and she wouldn't let him see his family. So I didn't mm-hmm. He wasn't in my life for 10 or 12 years, and so I just I don't want to rock the boat, He just said it's not worth it because I'm not going to change him, and it is what it is, and I need to just do the best I can.
Yeah.
And take deep breaths.
Okay. So, staying on topic of your brother, do you feel like you wish that he could be in, like, you could switch positions so you wouldn't have to take care of your mom all by yourself? Yes, you have help, as you stated earlier, but Would that? Do you think that'd be kind of nice not to have that worry every day, or if you're going on vacation, not having to worry about a phone call or anything? Can you expand on that?
I don't think it would. I don't think I would be able to give up total control, because I think I'm the one that makes her day. Does her pills, does her grocery shopping, knows what she likes to eat, makes her sandwiches, cooks her vegetables, all that kind of stuff. But so I wouldn't want to, because he has said, we can move her down to Columbus. But I don't. It'd be worse, because then I would wonder if she was being visited or taken care of. But on the other hand, it sure would be nice to have someone that came at least every other weekend and spent a night. Or.
Yeah. And you said that your mother really has no friends. She's just not. Is there a reason behind that, or is she just?
She never has been social.
Okay.
I don't know. She's never been social.
And now she's gotten older, she probably hasn't. She just doesn't. Doesn't want to socialize. And
she likes people to come in.
Even less. Yeah.
She likes to have people around, but she doesn't do anything to go socialize. She doesn't go to any of the events. She'll go if I come. She won't go to church or mass. If I come and take her, she'll go. And up until 6 months ago, she was totally ambulatory, and she could walk any place she wanted in the place. But now she's afraid she's going to fall. She's fallen a couple times, and so she's gotten a lot worse in the last 6 months. I had to move her into more assistance.
Oh, really? Sorry to hear that. Okay, so you were talking about ADHD, and you said that your mom has it, or your brother and
ADD, yeah.
Yeah,
lack of focus,
and you said that you have 2 sons. Do they know about your feelings, about your being stressed?
Not to the extent.
I mean, yeah, okay. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Not to the extent I am.
Okay. And why is that? Do you not want them to know, or is it?
Well, I think they're at a point in their lives where they're in their 20s, and one's in college and one just graduated from college, and they got their own lives, and it's hard for them to relate. I kind of look back on when I was that age, and I didn't know what my parents were going through emotionally. I just didn't, my brain wasn't there, and I think it's depressing for them to go there. They don't want to go. And visit, because one of them said it's so depressing, and it is depressing. So I don't know. But I don't live here, so I can't say. Well, one of them was here for a couple months in May, and he helped out, because I would say, could you go spend like a couple hours with Granny when I couldn't go, and he'll go, and that helped. That took a lot of the burden off of me. Even if you went like twice a week for an hour. Yeah. At least she got to see somebody, and at least, because you got to get, her days are, she gets up, she eats breakfast, she goes back to bed. She sleeps, she gets up, she might eat a sandwich, she goes back to bed, and then she might read a little bit, then she gets up for dinner, someone has to, feed her, then she goes back to bed, and takes a sleeping pill and goes back to bed. Yeah. And unless I come and take her, say, let's go out and sit, Mom, or let's go talk to Pauline, or how about we take a ride around the place? She'll go, but she won't go on her own. And so when I get there, it's like, like I was sick last week, and I didn't get to see her. Yeah. I didn't see her Thursday. I saw her Thursday. I didn't see her Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And when I got there yesterday, it's like, I haven't seen you in so long.
Yeah. And how does that make you feel, like, towards when she says that she didn't see you for so long? I mean, that must make you
guilty, angry, because she doesn't try and do anything for herself. She could have friends there, but she doesn't try. Guilty, because I've been the caretaker all my life. It's hard to get over that role. And just mad because of the way she used to treat me, and how critical she used to be, and now it's like I can't get over those feelings.
Oh, yeah, and it's so understandable. What feelings can't you get over? Like, can you give me an example of, like, just one thing that she did to you when you were younger? I mean, that that you can remember that really hurt you and that you can't let go to this day?
Nothing, I mean, just it was general, it was all the time. I'd give, like, I could, I don't have her over to my house because, I mean, she was just constantly critical. Like, she'd walk in and she'd say, "Is that a new lamp?" And I'd say, "Yeah."
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "Well, I don't like it. I like the old one better."
Mm-hmm.
Or
That's
I walk
mom's for
in,
you.
pardon?
So that's mom's for you.
Or I walk in with something like a new outfit, and I would never wear new outfits there because she'd always go, "Well, where'd you get that? Is that new? How much you pay for it? I don't like it on you." One time she took my jewelry, my bracelet, and she told me to take it off because it was ugly and she didn't like it. In front of my husband and my brother.
Wow.
And they felt bad, but they didn't, and so it's just like, they know what's going on, but I don't know. So anyhow.
So you said that you have 2 sons. What is try to rephrase the question. Does your mom love your sons? I mean,
Oh yeah, more than she does me.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
They can't do any wrong. Their sun rises and sets on my children. That was part of it. She always accused me of, being a horrible mother because I would get a babysitter at night to go out with my husband, and she said, that whatever, that I shouldn't do that. That I.
Yeah.
No, she's close. She loves them very much.
And why do you think it's just about the boys and not what comes from that? Like what is?
I think it has to do with her childhood
Their
somehow.
childhood.
Her childhood.
Yeah.
I think her mother perhaps favored her brothers. I don't know.
And what does your husband think about this whole, or how you're feeling? I mean, do you talk to him how you're feeling?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, at least you're talking to somebody. I mean, that you're close to.
Well, he just says, it's just what it is, and that he tells me I put too much pressure on myself, and that, she'll be fine if I don't show up for a day, and, but sometimes I feel really alone because if I haven't been there and I'm feeling especially really guilty, and I ask him to go, he really didn't want to go, and he makes a face, and like, do I really have to go? And
But he goes because he's there for you.
yeah, he goes sometimes.
About the no control, you were talking about how you like being in control of situations. Where does that come from?
My childhood.
Yeah. What would happen if one day you lost total control of, say, just your mom's situation and she actually did move the clothes? I mean, what would you do?
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a really good question. I don't know because it's really important for me to know that she's taken care of and that I don't know. That's hard. I don't know that I could. I don't know. I don't think I could be like my brother and just not act like I don't care or not care.
Yeah. Has your brother ever said anything about maybe moving back here and helping you out? No, or no? And you said that he was married before for a number of years and then got divorced. Is that correct? Okay. How was your relationship with his wife?
He has a child, and
Oh, he does?
I've only seen her once or twice in 15 years. Didn't see her much before then, and that was part of the problem that his wife wouldn't let him see his family. So he didn't ever come around because he didn't want to rock the boat. So I don't, there's like not even other grandkids that can come see her. It's
really?
Me. No nieces, no nephews. She's the only living person in her generation. Part of me will be a little relieved when she dies, and I know part of me will absolutely fall apart. So it kind of comes and goes.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard for people around me to understand because I have one son who just doesn't want to hear about it. because I think I don't know, but
Is this your oldest son or youngest son?
it's my oldest son. And he just, doesn't want to hear about it. And if I'm in a bad mood, or I'm really sad, he just is like, well, what's wrong, Mom? And I'll tell him, and he'll go, oh, she'll be fine. And then he just goes on to another subject, and it's kind of, it would be better if he could maybe draw me out a little bit more.
Yeah. So you said your kids are in college.
Graduated.
One graduated. How are your relationships with them?
Good.
Good.
I talk to them all the time.
Uh,
But I don't like to burn them either.
Yeah. And you've been married for how long now?
26 years. Going on 26 years this month.
You were saying that she's 90 and she can't hear. When did she start losing her hearing?
Gradually over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
She's pretty deaf now.
Yeah.
She won't wear hearing aids. She didn't like them. They're not comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But I put them in her when I go because I refuse to scream.
Yeah.
She's losing her eyesight. She's got macular degeneration, so it's hard for her to see. I go to the library and I get her large print books.
Mm-hmm. And you said that you have a little help. You didn't tell your name, but the one of the girls comes in, and
yeah.
What's she do with her? Does she just read with her, or play games, or what?
She just sits with her and keeps her company.
And does she seem to like that?
She loves it.
Yeah.
She doesn't like a lot of people, but she likes this girl, Jessica.
Jessica. And how long has she been going over?
6 months.
Okay.
Since my mother moved into a smaller apartment.
So let's go back to the no control one more time. So right now you just feel like you have some control, and what you said before is if you lost that, you don't know what you would do. You would just feel.
Well, as much as my feelings are for my mother, I have this need to protect her and keep her safe, and no matter how she treated me. So it would be hard to just send her away, especially with my brother who's ADD, and I don't know if he can see her. And no, she didn't have company, was sitting there all by herself, didn't know anybody, it would be hard. That would, I couldn't, I mean, I'd have to, if I got sick or, became disabled, I'd have to do it.
Yeah.
But.
I also want to talk about confronting, maybe confronting your older brother about what's going on. Because maybe he doesn't know, to the extent, I'm sure he does know a little bit of what's going on. But do you think he knows how you actually feel?
No.
Why is that? Why don't you want to? Why don't you want to confront him?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I should.
Yeah.
You're right, I should confront him. But I would just think he would get it. Like he says all the time, Sis, I don't know how you do it. You do a great job. I couldn't do what you do. I'll do anything you want. You take care of Mom. You do this, you do that. And then when I ask him to come and spend the night, you'd think he would come and spend the night. But I mean, I don't get what he doesn't get. I guess, I don't know. So I should confront him. I should sit him down and say, this is how I feel, and you need to help me. But I've done that before.
And you could do it in a nice but aggressive way, I guess you could say. Not aggressive, but you could do it in a nice, polite way. Maybe that will get the point across to him that this is how I've been feeling for this many years, and I just can't do it. Like, I just can't hold it in anymore. Do you think that would be something that you would want to try someday?
Yeah, I can see me doing that if it gets any worse.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is it for today. Same time next week. All righty.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.